What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I have a pretty special video, a really highly recommended video for me to make, and I've wanted to make this video for a while, but I never did, and a lot of you have been asking me, and in the end I decided to do it because, well, I figured I'd do it because I have a lot of time on hands due to this coronavirus quarantine thing, whatever. Hope you guys are doing okay, but yeah, so a lot of you have been asking me to go into depth about the details and the functions, features of both of these tanks, and the price of them, and which one is better, and which one I recommend if you're wanting to get into this hobby, or if you're just wanting to have a little RC tank to have fun with during quarantine, or just if you're watching this later on, just, if you want to have fun with an RC tank. So today we're just going to start with the Henglong RC tank, and then we're going to move to the Fisca, and I'm just going to show you guys what features they have and the differences, the pluses and minuses of each tank, and which one in the end at the end of this video I'm going to recommend which one I would buy and which one you guys should buy. So yeah. Okay, so going into the Henglong M4 Sherman. Now, right off the bat, when you look at this tank, it is just beautiful. The amount of detail this thing has is amazing. The painted camouflage and kind of weathered look to the tank, straight from the packaging look, is just beautiful, and that's one thing that I like about Henglong tanks. They are true to detail, and they are really historically correct on their tanks. There's no weird, bulky things added, as some other Chinese companies do. They just add weird things to tanks that make no sense, like huge laser guns, and I don't even know. But Henglong tanks, they make really nice tanks, and one point that I will make is that if you are a history lover and you're really, I guess you could say, you really like your detail and you want everything to be historically correct, if you're collecting these type of tanks, go with the Henglong tanks, because these ones, they actually come with all these accessories that you can add on yourself, which I kind of like. It's kind of like a Lego set, but it's not. But you add all these pieces, they snap tight into the little peg holes in the tank, and after you're done, it just looks amazing. So, and these tanks, like I said, everything is historically correct. Nothing is weird on it, and nothing is not there. Nothing is put on there that shouldn't be put on there, which I like. So right off the bat, let's take a look at the remote. So you get a nice looking remote, pretty durable. It comes with metal thumb, whatever you want to call them. And I just really like the feel of this remote. It comes with many functions, many features. It has 4 different sounds, so if you get tired of listening to one engine sound, you can change it to another one. It has a smoke feature. It has a volume control button, so you can control how quiet or how loud you want the tank engine sound to be. It has a machine gun button right here, sound effect, and a firing button, or firing sound effect, and it also moves the tank backwards when it fires. When it fires, this tank is actually an airsoft version, so it shoots 6mm BBs. The Fisca Sherman also shoots 6mm BBs, but this one is the 105mm size barrel, and the Fisca is, I believe, 75mm. And both of them do have metal barrels as well, so that's nice. But this one shoots much more stronger, and this is actually the new TK6 or 6.0 version, which has these new effects, 4 sound versions. The other older Henglong tanks only have like 2, so I definitely recommend getting the new 6.0. So I paid $120 for this tank, which is not bad. And I'll tell you the price for the Fisca in a second when I'm done with this tank. But it has many working functions, so features here. So you got the opening hatch, and you can insert the BBs through there. And then you have another hatch here that opens, and you can put your little commander figure. It does come with a commander figure as well. Machine gun moves around like this on top of the 50 cal. Barrel moves up and down, does not turn 360 degrees. It stops right around here when you're turning around. It has independent suspension, so these bogey wheels here move really nicely and can get over the obstacles nicely. Unlike the Fisca, which I'll show you in a second as well. Here's the back of the tank, looking really nice, as you can see all the little details that I have added. It also comes with decal stickers, however you want to call them, stickers, decals, that you can actually apply to the tank to make it look even more realistic. So let's go ahead and turn on the Henglong tank, and I'm just going to go through a quick run through of its features. So let's start it up. Really nice, strong sound. Sounds historically correct, or not as historically correct, but it sounds good enough for this tank. So let's go ahead and move the turret. Fast moving. It is proportional, which is something that I like. You can control how slow or how fast you want to move the turret. So let's also move the tank. Left. Oh. Right. Forward. Backward. Really nice movement overall. So let's go ahead and shoot the gun one time. And as you can see, it does pretty big damage, so you don't want to get hit in the eye with that. It doesn't really hurt when you, it's like a little pinch if you're shooting your skin or something, but I don't recommend shooting anyone with it. And no animals for sure, definitely, because it kind of hurts, I guess, but not too much. But this is only meant to be shot at, like, paper targets, whatever. It also has a infrared system that you can attach by lifting this lid here, or this hatch here, and you just attach a thing here, and the infrared thing goes here, and you can actually have laser battles with other tanks. And take them out if you don't want to have like airsoft. If you don't want to use your airsoft BB function, you can go to a safer way, which is kind of like a laser tag for tanks. So let's go ahead and move around here. Let me show you the smoke function. Oh yeah, so the smoke function. It takes a few seconds to, and it also has a pump in there, which I forgot to mention, which kind of pumps the smoke. But it takes a few seconds for the smoke to work, so I'll get back to you when the smoke is working. There you go. Pretty cool. I hope you can see that actually. Yeah, there's the smoke. Adds a really cool, realistic feature to it. Here's also the machine gun sound effect. By pressing this button right here. Really neat overall. Let's turn it off. Just like that. Alright, so next up is the Fisca RCM4 Sherman tank. Let's go ahead and get into its functions and features. So first point, talking about the historically accurate thing about this tank, and if you're a big history lover and you're looking for detail, do not buy the Fisca Sherman tank, and I'll tell you why. So as you can see here in the Henglong Sherman tank, the sprocket wheel was put up here. And that was historically correct. The sprocket wheel for the M4 Sherman was up here. And for some reason, this company decided to place the sprocket wheel back there, which I have no idea why. It doesn't really affect the performance, but it just looks weird and it shouldn't be there. Another thing is that the bogey wheels are way too big for the tank. And kind of give it a weird look. And another thing is that it's advertised that it has suspension, and you can see the springs back there. But when you press, you really have to forcefully push it for the suspension to actually kind of work. Unlike the Sherman, the suspension is really nice, flowing, free, and it gets over the obstacles like it's supposed to. While this one overall does not really have any suspension. It's just, I don't know, it's just horrible. Really stiff overall, and not historically correct, and not really a good tank to, I guess to say, absorb all the shocks from going off-road or whatever you're doing with this tank. One thing I didn't mention on the Henglong tank is that, as you might have noticed, it came with plastic tanks, while this one comes with rubber tanks, or rubber tracks, sorry. But this one has more grip, while the Henglong plastic tracks do not really have much grip. And so this one gets, over the obstacles easier, while that one starts sliding. But as I said, there's no really good suspension on this thing, so it doesn't really absorb much of the punishment that it gets. Another thing is that for some reason, they placed a big binocular looking thing on here that I took off because I did not like. And that's where you're supposed to put the BBs. But that takes away the whole realistic look of the tank. Other than the Henglong tank, the BBs go in there. But they decided to put it here, and I have no idea why. It just looks weird, and yeah, I don't know. And it does have a metal barrel, but for some reason it has this plastic cover on it. So I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they just didn't make a nice metal barrel. Yeah, and another thing about this is that the camouflage is kind of painted like a weird lime green color. It's not really an army green. It's a really light and not good looking paint color on it. Don't know why they decided to paint it that way. Another thing about it is that it does not have, as you can see here, a machine gun sound effect. So it doesn't really, this thing doesn't even move or anything like that. There's no lights coming from there. And this thing does not have an infrared system that you can attach to it, so you can't play like a laser tag battle with another tank. No, it's only strictly airsoft. Another thing, let's go ahead and start up the tank. And see, that's the thing about it, is when you turn it on, it just makes that peeping noise. And and this is the remote as well. I just forgot to show you the remote. Look how complicated that, oh my goodness, that just makes my brain hurt looking at it. Yeah, it's not, I really like the, I forgot, the joysticks, that's what it was called, sorry. I can't believe I forgot that for the Henglong remotes. This one has the joysticks. Wow, I can't believe I forgot how to say it. Okay, while this one just has, really, I don't know, it's just too much for me. It's not like, it's simple, but it's just too complicated, if you understand that. And the thing about this tank is that it is not proportional. So yeah, that's one thing. It just, whatever you press is all it's got. There's no controlling nothing, and it doesn't even have an engine sound effect, which I don't like at all. So let's go ahead and drive it. So this is forward, this is backwards, left, right, just like that. So and then it also has so this is like regular speed, and then this is supposed to be faster speed. I don't know. Let's go ahead and turn on the airsoft feature. So this does have a feature which is nice for kids, I guess. And I feel like this is more towards kids, while the Henglong tank is not really for kids because there's smaller parts and accessories that break easily. While this one doesn't really have any accessories. It's all kind of like molded on there. So I get where this would be more of like a kid's toy. So let's go ahead, and since I turned on the airsoft feature, let's shoot the gun on this tank. And as you notice here, while I'm turning turret, it moves much slower than the Henglong tank, or the turret does. Alright, on 3, 1, 2, 3. So, as you can see here, the damage is pretty bad too on this tank. But the Henglong tank is a little bit more powerful. But it's not bad, So let's go ahead and turn it around. Really slow moving turret. Let's turn off the airsoft feature, and let's turn it back around. And the final thing that I almost forgot to mention is the price of this thing. So $80. I paid $80 for the thing. And, you may be like, oh, well, I'm just going to buy this one because it's much more cheaper than the Henglong tank. And you know what? In the end, let's go ahead and bring out the Henglong tank. So in the end, if you're wanting to buy an RC tank just to have fun with, and you're not really serious about the detail, and you could care less about if it's historically correct or not, then I would go with the Fisca tank because it's much cheaper and works okay. But if you're looking towards detail and you're a collector, you're a history lover, or you just want a historically correct Sherman tank, then go with the Henglong tank. Henglong makes a bunch of other RC tanks that work really well, and they're also historically correct. Fisca, I think it makes another tank, but that one is also not really historically correct, and it's okay. But the Fisca tanks are mostly marketed towards kids, while the Henglong tanks are not. Henglong tanks are strictly for those who can take care of it, and they have smaller accessories that are not for smaller kids. Smaller kids can choke on them, whatever. But the only reason why there's pretty big price differences is because, as I said, this one, it's more for just, a fun indoor tank that, you don't care if it breaks or something like that, or if it's, if it's for kids, if you're buying it for your little kid or something, it's not bad. While this one, it has more detail and more features, more sound effects, better sound effects, and it has a bunch of other features that, bump up the price, but for what you're getting, or what you're paying for, it's not bad. It's pretty good for this tank. Now, one final thing I will say before leaving you guys is the thing about these tanks are, if this breaks, you can throw it out. And I'll tell you why. Because there are no parts for this tank. If it breaks, you have to buy a whole new one. And, nobody wants to do that. Unlike those that are really desperate. But then you're spending, twice as much as you really want to pay for it. Unlike the Henglong tanks, which actually you can find on eBay, on Amazon. They sell a bunch of parts for these tanks. So if you break one part, or you miss one accessory, or you lost one accessory, or something doesn't work, you can replace that part, and you can buy another one for reasonably good prices. And you can keep these tanks running for quite a while. You can even upgrade them. You can upgrade the tracks to metal. You can upgrade the hulls to metal. The barrels are already metal, but you can also upgrade these gearboxes to metal. This one is fully plastic, also plastic gearboxes, or the gears. So I might upgrade it to metal to last longer. But this tank, you're kind of hopeless with it. You can't really do much if it breaks. If this one breaks, you can fix it up and you can keep it running for quite a while. And I've had one, I bought a Henglong M4A3 Walker Bulldog tank about 2 years ago, and I've had it ever since, and it works great. This one I just bought a couple months ago, the Fisca one, and so it's still working, but because I'm not using it as much, so it makes sense. But I feel like if it was used more, it would kind of break down eventually. But with the Henglong tank, I definitely recommend it for those of you who want a tank that's going to last longer, and a tank that has a lot more features and works great, and just you can do much more stuff to it than the Fisca tank. But if you're buying an RC tank, for your kid, and you don't want he or she to get hurt or something, or choke, whatever, then I would recommend getting the Fisca tank, because it has that feature here where you can turn the airsoft feature on or off. So you can't, if something happens and the kid gets behind it and tries to shoot whatever, it's not going to do anything because the feature is off. So that's one thing that I like about it. But yeah, so in the end, I guess, so let's do it this way. Out of a 10, I'd recommend the Fisca RC tank for my interest and for what I need and for how I use my tanks. I'd give it a 4 out of 10. 5 out of 10, yeah. For the Henglong RC tank, out of a 10, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. That's only because I have the plastic version. But once I get it upgraded to metal and do a bunch of other stuff, then it's definitely going to be a 10 out of 10 tank. But straight out of the box, it still works perfectly. And, I just really like the Henglong RC tanks. So, yeah. Now it's your turn, and you got to decide for yourself which one you want and which one you would need, actually, and which one you'd like to get. But I hope I've given you enough information to leave here with so that you know which one you want to get. This one is mostly sold on Amazon. I find them on eBay as well, but they're really overpriced on eBay. And I bought on eBay, they're selling them for $100, almost $200. I don't even know why. It's not worth $200 or $100. While on Amazon they're selling them for $80. And the Henglong tanks, you can find them on Amazon and eBay. But they're mostly to get the best prices, I would go for eBay. So, yeah. Alright, see you guys next time. Make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, And yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and hope you're going to buy yourself a tank soon. All right, peace.